So which ones did you want to go over first?
First one was the ogre, because we won that game, but it was rough.
I'm turning on the good old Steam controller.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
And if you could share your screen, that would be nice.
Good call. Nah, we're gonna do this whole lesson without it on.
I'll just have to like guess which part of the game you're in.
I'm trying to spice it up, dude. I feel like my coaching sessions are getting stale. I'd rather see a glimmer cape than a pipe. Because most of their damage isn't AoE, unless this guy the radiance. It's probably pretty nice for that. But like, this guy and this guy are a lot of single target quick damage. And Glimmer Cape, like, I think people underestimate how important it is to have that invisibility. Like, most cores just don't want to carry dust. So against a core, it's like you spent 2,000 gold and they can't fucking do anything to you for 5 seconds.
Right, unless someone's there to help.
Yeah, and even then it's kind of like you're making a support have to be there and use a slot for, like, would you rather be the support with the Glimmer Cape or the support with the dust?
The cape, definitely.
Yeah, so you're making them use one of their slots reactively, whereas you're using yours proactively. And if you have the extra gold, you should probably get an extra clarity, because you spam spells a lot.
Okay.
And usually you want to give your mid your tangos. Yeah, this guy, you should definitely give this guy an extra tango. Like, you have fucking 5.5 regen, you don't really need 5 tangos.
Right.
I was gonna say this is a really good ward spot, but you have a Doom, so that one's fine. If you didn't have a Doom, it's usually better to place it here, because it also blocks the camp.
Right.
Fucking quick buy, dude. Fuck you. How many hours we've had like 6.5 hours together, and you're still not using your fucking quick buy.
I do end up using it.
No, dude, it's fucking too late. The damage is done.
Oh man. Rip.
My
up goes my rates.
Yep. So it's really good to start mid with your SF, so I like what you're doing, because he doesn't care too much about experience. Like, he cares a lot about experience, but he also cares a lot about guaranteed last hits. And if you're, like, standing up here, like, fucking around with their mid, you're gonna let him get his last hits. And then when he gets his last hits, he can start denying a lot more and getting more, last hits? Fuck. More last hits. But it's kind of like, if you get this guy far enough ahead, he's going to start getting all the last hits and all the denies. So he's going to be getting, when it's a 1v1, he's going to be getting 125% of the experience out of the lane, whereas the other guy's only getting 25%. So even if you sap mid early, you can oftentimes make it so your SF ends up with, like, you're guaranteeing he's ending up with more farm. But also you can help make it so he even gets more experience than that enemy, just because he's going to be denying, like, everything at a certain point. So I definitely don't mind this at all. And any spells that you tank, this is a mid Skywrath, so anytime he casts this on you, it's a time that he's not casting it on your SF, which is great. And that's like, when you're an ogre, you want them to be wasting all of their shit on you, because you have so much fucking armor, you have a decent amount of health, and you have insane health regen. And it doesn't matter if you have to go back to base. It's pretty good. I like what you're doing here. When you have a clarity running, I like to switch lanes, because it's kind of like, you don't want to be it's more there's less downsides to switching lanes when you have a clarity running, because you can get more out of the clarity. So if it's good to switch lanes, it's even better if you have the clarity. So if it's kind of like 50-50 if you leave the lane and go somewhere else, it's a little bit more so when you have a clarity running. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, fucking go punch him, dude. You should have punched him. The fuck? You would take like 3 tower shots, but you would have stopped his salve. And it'd be about even damage. But then when your SF comes back, the Skywrath will be so low that he can't do anything until he gets his bottle.
Can you slow it down and run through that again? Because I remember when I was playing this, I was thinking about it and I pussied out at the last second.
So like right here, you could have ran in and punched him. You would have stopped probably 180 of the salve. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's like 1/3.
Yeah. I'd say it's like 2/5. So around 180. And like you would take like probably 3 tower shots, which is with ogre, you have 30% physical resistance, so that's around 180-ish also. Plus you would punch them for the 60. And you kind of want to go back to base after you cast your next ignite anyways. So it's kind of like, if you go back to base with any health above like 1, it's kind of like a waste of that health in a sense. Like you don't want to go back at 1 because then you're playing like stupid fucking reckless, but like right now I think if you went and you punched him with the haste, broke his salve, threw an ignite on him, and then went back to base, I think that would be the play here. And
okay,
that would like help this lane so much. He gets his bottle soon, but like lol, the courier's gonna take for fucking ever. Yeah, so this guy would be like at like 200 health right now. And he just can't do anything. He has enough for one more spell after this, and he's just kind of like done. Whereas like right now you'd be back to base, you'd be getting full mana and health, and you can even fucking TP back mid and abuse that he's at like 200 health.
Mhm. Yeah, I was just worried about tanking like tower hits and then
that's
gold. And...
that's just kind of like, you have to understand that ogre's a fucking beast. Ogre and spear breaker are like stupid tanky at against tier 1s at least. They're stupid tanky. But you also have to watch out for ogre syndrome, where you're tanky as fuck for the first like 5 or 10 minutes, and then at 15 minutes you're just a support. And if you play like you're still an ogre, then you usually just die and feed. And here I would have went for the bottom rune, the ability rune. Because it's kind of like your clockwork could be doing this, and he wants it more than you do. But by you getting it, he doesn't get it, which it's kind of like fine. But over the same course of time, you both could have also checked this rune, and Lich could have been there and took like a haste and ran down your SF or some shit like that.
Right. Is clock still 2 right now?
He's 3.
Okay.
So it wouldn't change anything immediately, but it's still like, after you get your level 3, you don't change much for the rest of the game. Like your stun is the same duration it's always going to be. The slow on this doesn't really change much. It's more about the duration and the damage, but like it kind of just keeps up with the amount of regen and health the enemy has. So it doesn't get too much stronger. And that wouldn't have happened if you fucking punched him with your haste and threw an ignite on him. Because the the Skywrath wouldn't have had the health to do that. We can actually watch that. So right now, the Skywrath would be at... He has an empty bottle. He would be at like 100 health right now. Would you agree?
Yeah, he would have never regened.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have gotten his bottle, would have had to walk back.
Yep, you wouldn't have the mana. Yeah. All of this wouldn't have happened if you punched the Skywrath, ignited him, and then went back to base. And if you went back to the mid, he would be vulnerable to you. Like, you ignite him, and he just has to go back to base. Which is amazing to do to a mid or a carry. You going back to base means, like, almost nothing. Whereas them going back to base means a ton. Because, like, what you miss by going back to base is, like, maybe some harass on somebody. But what they miss is, like, 4 to 6 creeps or whatever. And then, 4 to 6 creeps is your SF is getting 8 to 12 denies, which is 16 to 24 damage with the souls he gets. And now he's at 4 souls when he could be at like 24 and up a kill and probably a level. He'd probably be at like 5.5 right now with full souls and maybe boots or a bottle. Or definitely boots or a bottle. I'm very reluctant to solo Shrine as a support. Usually I only like to do that if I'm a support that's at a power spike, who needs to Shrine for me to do anything. So think like a Night Stalker at like 5 or 6 minutes, or a Clockwork that just got his hook and there's somebody vulnerable bottom. Because like I'm sure the chances of you doing anything worth that Shrine is very low. Whereas, if I get a kill on somebody with a Clockwork or a Night Stalker, it makes a huge difference. And like, what the fuck are you doing? What? Just cast your Ignite on them.
I think I was trying to body block or something, I don't remember. I think I ended up body blocking him actually, though.
Yeah. This is, like, you should just ignite him and then let the Doom walk where he's gonna go. And then, like, even with ignite, you don't have to body block, because this guy's... He should be faster, right? Oh, his shit just wore off. But I was gonna say, he's gonna be faster than the Spectre. With the stuff on. It's like... Yeah, so he would be... They'd be about the same. The way that I see that, though, that might be helpful is, if I ignite now, they're gonna run to me, right? Like, any way that, when this Pudge dies, any way that the Doom goes, he's gonna end up closer to you, or in a better position for you to block, right? So that's a perfect time for you to cast a spell and use like half a second of animation, because after that, like, he'll be like right here, or like right here, and does that, I don't know how to put that better.
I think I know what you mean. I think you're trying to say that if you just throw the stun out, you know,
The ignite.
not only will the Spectre be slowed, he'll see the projectile and go,
Yeah.
okay, I have backup, and he'll run back. And
Well, I think the best way that I want to put it is, if you run up, you can't ignite. But if you ignite, they're going to run to you, and the Spectre's going to be slowed. I think that's closer to what I want to say with it.
okay.
fucking got him, dude. You still don't have your fucking quick buy. What is this? What is this? Have I taught you nothing? Am I a failure as a coach? You're making me self-conscious, dude.
I'm known for being a difficult student.
Lol.
Just ask my 6th grade teacher.
Or your 5th, or your 4th, or your 1st.
Yeah, that too, actually.
I would say your 12th, but you dropped out in 11th.
Feels bad.
Got him.
They don't have 12th in remedial school, lol.
Lol.
Just kidding. I'm a college graduate, but you wouldn't think that.
Yo, I actually graduated like a week ago.
Do you feel empty inside? That's how I felt.
Yeah. It's pretty much like, I just did all my life and I didn't actually get anything out of it.
Yeah, it's kind of a waste of time, in my own honest opinion.
Well, mine's literally just like, the only reason I went to college was to make my parents happy so I could keep living at home while I do Dota. And I, like, even told them that.
This was just unfortunate. The hook came in and...
This is kind of like, it's not really your fault, but it's how this should play out is you punch him and then stun him and then ignite him, and the clockwork runs up into melee range. Because, your punch will get the Orb of Venom off, and you'll be able to stun before this guy can react, and then your clockwork can run up, and then you ignite for the damage and the slow. But you guys used your most important, not only is his stun just like the same as yours, it's 1 second actually, so it's worse than your stun. But he's using his mostly as a stun, whereas he can also use it as a gap closer. So if you stun, Orb of Venom, stun, ignite, the clockwork catches up, battery assaults cogs, this guy keeps his hook shot. So I guess the way that you want to look at this is, when the clockwork runs at the Skywrath, you should like get started so he doesn't do this stupid shit. Like punch him right now and then stun, and then your clockwork won't have to. And there's really no point stunning him while he's in here, because he's not really gonna kill the clockwork, at least not like immediately. And he's more concerned about getting out of the cogs than he is killing this the clockwork, right?
Yeah.
So you want to save the stun for when he's in a position that's a lot better for himself.
And then he's gonna hunt me down here. Yep.
Look at that 100 gold you just lost. Watch your gold, see it? You lost 90 gold. See it? We're gonna go over it a few more times. See it?
Yep, went from 540 to 430.
Yep.
Or something like that.
You fuck. Use your quick buy. And at this point, I would be looking to get like a soul ring, and a cloak, because they have a lot of early game. Most of their damage early game is going to be magic, especially with the Skywrath mid, and then like these guys. Spectre's not going to do anything early, and then this guy's like half magic, half physical. But you're not.
So, I was gonna say, I had a question here about the items. So would you go Tranquils and Soul Ring this game? Because I went for Arcane Boots this game, because, you know, my logic was that, you know, Ogre already has the good regen and all that. I thought you were supposed to go Arcane Boots.
Well, my argument would even be go Soul Ring Mana Boots. Because Soul Ring gives you... Here, let's actually go out of this real quick. Where you at, Ogie?
Strength. Or no, it's intel wall.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. Do you think this guy looks like a strength hero?
He doesn't look like an intel hero.
He's blue, dude, and two brains are better than one. He's obviously. So, like, look at your health regen with these two items. That's basically tranquils on a lot of heroes. So when you have enough health regen that you can use Soul Ring and not worry about the health regen too much, just because this guy's a fucking ogre. So this is one of those like rare situations where like you don't really care if you go tranquils or not. Like tranquils are good, but it's kind of like he's already got the health regen you need. And then another thing I wanted to show you was
what a beast.
Yeah.
I didn't realize just how.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, I had to show somebody a Spirit Breaker version of this, because they were scared to go under tower as Spirit Breaker. But it's like
20, 25 attacks.
Yeah, and, I mean, I guess, here, let me, select new hero, ogre. You were probably, like, level 3 at the time. So let's make it a little bit more realistic.
That's still a lot.
Yeah. But it's like, it's something that you don't understand until you see, because you're so scared of towers by not being a fucking ogre at 1 minute in the game. But yeah, I would have went, I would have been using my quick buy because I'm not fucking shit at this game. And the Soul Ring is very good for rough games because the components are small and lol. One of my buddies actually sent me that picture and I immediately switched it. So what I was saying is the Soul Ring is a lot. The problems with Soul Ring is that, how do I put it? It's usually a problem when you get good farm. Like Soul Ring is, when you look at it, it's just like an amazing item. Like you get 1 extra or 0.5 extra health regen, and the stats are just like really good on it. Like people used to get Bracer for the 6 strength on support heroes back when it was like 560 gold. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's like cheaper, but it's like it used to be 100 gold more and 1 strength less, and strength even gave less health back then, and people would still get it. But now this is like a fucking Bracer that solves all of your mana problems and gives you health regen for like 200 gold more than it used to be. So the item is like fucking insane. But it's the drawbacks are it eats into your health. But you don't have to worry about that with Ogre with a wand, because you had like 10 health regen at like level 5 with Soul Ring and wand. So you're not too worried about it because your hero is basically just always eating a fucking tango. And then the other drawbacks to it are it's an item slot. So when you start getting a lot of items, it can start eating into your slots. So like one's gonna be boots, one's gonna be a TP scroll, and then Soul Ring, wand, and then like if you need dust or some shit maybe. But you kind of have 2 slots. After when you get Soul Ring, you only have 2 left. But if you aren't getting farm anyways, then that's not as big of a deal. So the downsides of it are countered by when the game's going bad, the downsides are countered by you're not going to fill those slots anyways. And then the health regen problem is countered by you're a fucking ogre. Um, so, and then the upsides of it is it's a cheap ass item that tanks you up, gives you health regen, solves all your mana problems. And the build up is amazing for when you just keep dying. Like you can get both of these. It's less than 300 gold, and it gives you 120 health, which is a lot. So it makes you die less while building it up, and if you do die, it's got small components that you can buy out, so you don't have to worry about it. But like if you went for mana boots, if you went wand mana boots, you can't buy out the orb, the booster to like save gold when you die. Does all this make sense?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
it's a better build up overall, basically.
Yeah, it's a better
Boils
build up.
down to.
It solves your mana more. It tanks you up. It's cheaper. The only drawback really is it doesn't give mana to your team, and it doesn't give you a larger mana pool. So where were we? Is this where we were? I think we were before here.
We were a little before that.
Wait. I thought you were level 5. Fuck it.
Close enough, just go.
Yeah. Also, I'm reluctant to get this early. Because it's 65 mana. Just for, like, movement speed and attack speed. But this is, like, really good. Like, you waited until level 4 to get your stun. So what's to stop you from... If you gank the Skywrath at level 3, what's going to stop him from just TPing the shrine and healing up and then coming back full? Like, you can run at him faster, whoop-de-fucking-do. Like, Ignite's good, it's just, like... Or Bloodlust is good. It's kind of like... It's at the point where you have to consider even casting it, right? Like... It's 2/3 of the mana of Ignite. But wouldn't you much rather cast 2 Ignites than 3 Bloodlusts?
Yeah.
Like, much rather. I'd rather cast 2 Ignites than 5 Bloodlusts. So it's kind of just like... Especially when you don't have... Like, maybe if you went Soul Ring first, it'd be fine. And you... Like, right now, you could have a Soul Ring if you had it on Quick Buy and bought out all the components. So the 760... between not dying, because you get the 6 strength early, and having the quick buy and not losing the gold when you die. Like, you haven't died yet. The fuck? Oh, what?
Oh, you know what? This is right before I died, actually.
Okay.
This is before the Clockwork Hook and that whole fucking shit show.
Yeah, here we go.
That's where we left off.
Yeah, and then you die here. So you wouldn't have had it yet, maybe? But like right now you'd be buying out the gauntlets and the ring of regen. I think you have enough for that. Or at least like you would definitely buy out enough that you wouldn't have lost that 90 gold right there.
Yeah.
And maybe having that 6 strength flown out on the courier sooner would have saved you there.
Yeah, I was going for arcane boots, and I think it kind of fucked me there.
The thing with arcane boots is it's like the mana is really nice on certain heroes. Like Nyx just kind of has to get it because he doesn't have the mana pool to cast all of his spells. So it's really big on Nyx or Nyx or whatever the fucking the stun guy.
Nyx.
Yeah, they both have like the same name. It's annoying. But aside from that, like that doesn't matter too much to you. Like you're gonna be able to cast all your spells by the time that you have mana boots, anyways. Especially if you have Soul Ring. So that's not too much of a consideration. And then you go to how much is my team gonna benefit from it? And like this guy, he's gonna get an urn, so he should be fine. And then Doom's kind of like, these guys aren't too mana dependent. Like the Shadow Fiend, like it can be nice to have it, but they're heroes that usually aren't known for mana problems, right?
I think Doom is, right?
He usually gets, like, he solves his own shit. And like this is a 16-second cooldown, and aside from that, he's just gonna be casting Doom and his Scorched Earth. So he's more of a mana problems when he's farming a lot by spamming this out early before he has any regen. But like this is a minute cooldown. This is 16-second cooldown. This is 2-minute cooldown. So I don't really think of this guy as too much of a mana problem. At least like not in fights. Like it's nice to have mana on him, but it isn't like super nice. Like the heroes that I think of that are like really good to have mana boots on are like Juggernaut, Chaos Knight, Sven, Wraith King, Medusa. Old Morphling was really good. Who else is good? I kind of like it on OD, which is counterintuitive because he has the thing, but I like Aether Lens a lot when I'm with this guy, which builds out of the mana boots. But it's just so his mechanic is when your spell costs less than 10% of your mana pool, and he has this maxed, you can spam it out and start regenerating mana. So the 450 mana or the 250 mana from Aether Lens and mana boots helps you get to that threshold. So it's kind of nice with OD. And then like Brewmaster, sometimes Beastmaster, Bristleback, Centaur kind of, Omni kind of, Pudge kind of. Shit like that, it's like nice to have. But the first 5 that I pointed out really, ish, like Sven, CK, Juggernaut, all of those guys like really like the mana boots. But like on your team it's just kind of like nice. And then the last thing that you consider is are you going to be using the energy booster for anything important? Like if Greaves is really good, or if you're a hero that needs Atos, or if you're going to go for what's the Lotus Orb? But like when you consider mana boots, there's just like none of those reasons are super compelling. Like Lotus or Grease might be nice, but they're not like the greatest, because it's good against this guy's silence, and that's about it. And you can, the Greaves are good against this guy's silence, and the Purge from the Lotus Orb is, and then like the Lotus Orb is good to cast on your Luna when she goes in and fights, so she can't get like dismembered and like nuked down and shit. But it's like not mandatory, and you'd kind of rather just have a Force Staff, because you can just Force completely counters this guy's ult. Like he's gonna get Atos, and you just Force out, and he wastes all of his mana, and does like maybe 200 damage before you can cast the Force Staff. Do you have any questions so far?
No, this is good.
Okay. And now your Luna's moving around, so it's good to stay behind her. And try and get some shit out. But yeah, like right now you could have Soul Ring and I don't like the Orb of Venom. Like you weren't doing well enough early game to get the Orb of Venom.
Right.
So I think if you skipped this and you got a Soul Ring and a Cloak, think about how much more tanky you would be when this guy goes on you. You'd have he doesn't burst too well unless he uses his ult, so the health regen actually is pretty good. And then the extra 120 health, and then the cloak will make it so he's doing a ton less damage. Like, right now, you'd probably be at like 300 or 400 health if you had a soul ring and a cloak instead of mana boots and orb of venom. And right now, you'd be at like 600 just from like regen and all that. And you wouldn't have to go back to base right now, or you might stay, but
I stayed.
yeah, it's fine. But like if you had soul ring and cloak, you could like actually be up tanking spells and stuff too. Lol. Jebaited. Did you? I don't remember seeing. Did you place these two?
No, that's I don't think so.
Alright. Because I don't like those. Usually you want to ward as aggressively as you can. And sometimes that's like, imagine you're on the Radiant, and you have all of your tier 2s down. And like, alright, fuck the, I'm gonna skip the, so let's say you have all of their tier 1s dead, and your tier 2s are dead, and they have like a Naga. Like, this is the most aggressive wards that you can get, and that's like great. It's kind of like figuring out where your line of safety is, and then putting wards on the edge of that is kind of how I think about it sometimes, if I want to simplify it. So these wards kind of like, another thing to consider is the objectives that you want to take and the things you want to do. This doesn't really do anything except for, like, I guess stop you guys from getting ganked. And then this is kind of like, I'd just much rather have it over here, because then you can see all of this too. So even though those aren't your wards, I think it's a good thing to talk about, and hopefully you play some shitty wards so I can make fun of you soon.
You know what, there was like a couple of shitty wards that I wanted to place, and then I'd be like, and I was just thinking like, fuck, like Tact is gonna fucking...
Yeah, he's gonna make fun of me and I'm gonna be sad.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to play shitty wards, but I didn't want you to like call me a Mercury baby again, you know?
Too many vaccines, dude.
Yep. Chemtrails. I saw this and I was like, bitch, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then he died anyway, lol. Lol.
So that was kind of a goon fest.
Yeah. Alright, what about that one?
I'd rather have, like, that one's just kind of like, it's good for the time being, but I'd rather have you, like, wait until you guys push out and, like, place one, like, here, or, like, here. And this one's really good for pushing the tower, and this one is too, but this one's better for when the tower's taken, because you get, like, this vision, kind of. So if anyone goes this path, you see them. But this one can, like, sometimes not catch that. So it depends on if you think the SF's going to be coming bottom. Because if he starts pushing if you guys push this to the tower, you can usually get behind here and place this ward fine. If you're smart about it. Like, if anyone shows up anywhere, you just, like, don't. But you can usually, like, get away with coming over here and just dropping one there. So this one's kind of like, it's close to being right, but it's not perfect, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go in more depth of that, or do you get it?
No, I get it.
Okay.
I mean, at the time, I was just worried that, because, like, you know, there were a shit ton of people there, and I didn't think I could get that deep, if you know.
Yeah. Small dick problems. And he places this one, which is just fucking horrible. And
that's a shit ward.
Yeah, okay, good. You understand.
I'm learning.
Yep.
Sometimes. Also, yeah, this Spectre was just, like, fucking haunting for no reason constantly all game. I didn't
scared,
understand
dude.
that. I'm spooking him out.
What the fuck? The fuck, dude? What? How do you smoke a second before you place the ward? What is this?
Oh, it's because I changed my hotkeys.
Oh, alright.
Yeah.
And when this tower's down, I'd be looking to place it not here. I'd want to place it here, especially if you smoke. But the Spectre would have broke it, but you could, like, scout them out. And, like, the only way they stop you from TPing is literally Pudge. So, you could have gone deep, like, Spec Ops, and got this Warden. It'd be much better.
I was just spooked.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
Lol.
Oh, shit.
Alright, well that was fucking... That was something. Your camera positioning is fucking awful, dude. Like, you don't even know that you're being ulted right now.
I think I was typing or something.
Oh, yeah. I guess. Sure.
But then... At least we wiped them. Not really.
A lot of these deaths are like, just imagine if you had a soul ring and a cloak.
Oh, I know. I started getting picked off a lot more at this stage of the game. I think I had like 12 deaths or something this game.
Yeah, you just have to kind of like think about how are you gonna die this game. And it's gonna be, Spectre's gonna haunt on you and catch you out. The Skywrath's gonna go on you, or the Pudge is gonna hook you and dismember you. Those are like really the main ways that you die. And the best way to deal with it is Glimmer Cape and Force Staff. Like, Glimmer and this guy like jumps on you and then he's like, oh wait, fuck, I don't have dust, I'm a Spectre. Also works just as well for this guy because he's like a ton of single target magic damage. But Force Staff also works good with this guy. And then Glimmer Cape's really good against this guy if you can cast it on yourself when you get hooked. Because then you avoid like most of the damage between Rot and his ult. And then Force Staff's good for getting away from this guy.
Right.
So with that in mind, I'd be like, yeah. They just recognizing that they have so much magic damage. It's kind of like not having at least a cloak by 22 minutes is like kind of illegal, and you should go to jail for that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was a nice TP.
Thanks, dude.
Switching your hotkeys, right?
No, yeah, that's exactly what it was.
And I don't.
Because I.
Why'd you? You didn't max this. One sec. Toted. I think the last point does like the most scaling. Yeah, it goes up 74 damage, and then 90 damage, and then 106 damage. I think you might have even... You remember when the Skywrath was over here? And you stunned him and you're like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah.
I think if you had Ignite maxed, you might have killed him. It's just, like, it's one of those where it gets better with more points. So it's like leaving it at 3 is kind of like sucks. Like the duration and the damage and the slow get better. Whereas this, it's just kind of like the movement speed goes up like 2%, and the attack speed goes up like 20% or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but like it's having this maxed at level 7 does so much damage early, and you're just kind of like missing out on that. Like it does 33% more damage maxed. Like it does around 300 with 3 points, and it does 400 damage with 4 points in it, and it lasts the extra second with the slow. So the total amount that they're slowed goes up like probably like 35% for a single second. No, it'd be more like whatever the fuck it is. More like 40% for a single second, because it's 2% more for the 7 seconds, which is 17%.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last second is it's 40% slower for one entire second. Plus, you kind of like the thing with ogre is you can very much just kind of like ignore him. Especially if you max bloodlust first. Let's say you go like 1-1-4-1. They can just like you don't actually do anything. They can just ignore you. Or like they're the most able to ignore you because you don't do any damage, and your stun just kind of like is what it is, and then you're making everyone else the priority with this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this was the best part of the game. Watch Spectre.
Lol. Now I do, lol. Imagine if you had a fucking glimmer cape, dude. You're going blink? What?
I didn't go blink.
What even made you think to go blink? You have a clockwork. You have blink is good for if you don't have any initiation on your team, and you don't need
Right.
other things more. And you do need other things more. You need a glimmer and a force, and you have initiation. So that would be my thought process on it.
Yeah, I changed. No, I changed it. I changed to 4 staff.
I wouldn't even like have thought of blink dagger.
Yep.
Imagine if you had a glimmer cape. Like I think that's all. I think that's about good for the replay because most of it's just gonna be like.
Imagine if you had Glimmer
Yeah,
Cape.
yeah. Imagine if you had Soul
through.
Ring. Imagine if you. Alright, so let's go to another one.
Let's see.
We're at around 50 minutes, so if you want to do an hour one or whatever, if you want to do an hour and a half, it's up to you.
Let's just go Witch Doctor. Let me take 2 or 3 minutes right now, and let's do that one.
Alright.
Your turn to ban.
Alright.
Fuck you, why'd you get an Orb of Venom?
Victory is assured. This one is
think the idea was to slow Juggernaut when he spins.
What? It's a 4% slow, and he's fucking magic immune when he's spinning. The only heroes that I think Orb of Venom are decent on are like Venomancer and Jakiro. Because both of them kind of like slow harass anyways. And then another consideration is the enemy offlaner a Timbersaw? And if none of those situations arise, then don't get it. It's kind of like the only times that I'd be like, yeah, I fucking need an Orb of Venom is if I'm a Jakiro against a Timbersaw or a Venomancer support against a Timbersaw.
Right, I mean, I think my thinking was like, I mean, since Witch Doctor's right click is pretty good early on compared to other supports that like would help you get more right clicks off. But
I mean, Boots would just do it better.
Right, but I had to buy all that other shit.
Well, I mean, you would get your Boots soon after. And Orb of Venom's a detour item, like, not something that you... it's not in your build, and it doesn't progress you at all. Keep fucking chasing him, dude. Here I would be... I'd cross over, actually. I'd fucking follow him. After these creeps pass, I would run through here and follow him.
Can you go back 10? Yeah, let me see where that guy went.
Well, you can tell that he's not going to be here if you stay here. Because, like, he would immediately be coming to these. So where else is he going to be except for over here or back? This is fine too, I guess. But now I'd be like, alright, the SF's gonna play so defensively that we can't do anything. I'm gonna cross over here and fuck with the Enigma.
And then I tried to go back bottom and I got caught. But you'll see that in a second.
See, like, now you're kind of just not doing anything. And that's just understanding that when an SF is at, like, no health, he's going to play defensively. And you're not a hero that can go on someone even if they're playing defensively. So you just kind of, like, you did really well for the first 50 seconds, and then you just didn't do anything for the next minute and a half. Cooked. But yeah, like, right now you could have your Boots. And that's like 400 gold down your progression, whereas Orb of Venom's 275 away from your progression. Did you get him? Feels bad.
No, I didn't.
Space created.
Well, that's good that you mentioned to go top, because I didn't even think to do that.
What you mean?
Oh, earlier when I forced Enigma out and you said to just cross over and go top, it didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like, you just don't do it for like 5,000 hours of Dota, and then you're like, oh wait, I can actually do that. And that the only thing that you have to consider with that is just kind of like look at where your creeps are on the map. And like right here, the enemy creeps are probably going to cross through here soon. So when your creeps get to like the here, then you can cross through for like 20 seconds after. But if your creeps are like not even spawned yet, or they're like right here, you could probably cross over. Also, Juan's really good on this guy. So I would have had that queued up.
Why is it particularly good on this guy?
You, with your, it's mainly your heal. So, a lot of the times, if you get your heal early, you can just, like, fight people. Because you're getting 16 health a second. And then with Wand, it's more like 18 health a second. And charges mean even more health. So, like, 2 Wand charges will heal you for 60 mana and 60 health. Or 30 mana and 30 health. But with this guy, it's, like, 180 health and 0 mana. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
and also, if you're healing while shit's going on around you,
yeah,
get more mana and
yeah. Is that convincing enough, or do you want me to go more into it?
That's convincing.
Alright.
Like right there, I would have gotten a few charges.
Yeah, and it's like 3 charges can mean the difference between you living or dying with this guy. If you're like about to and you can just keep healing because you have Wand.
Also, this is a little off topic, but do you think this hero is good right now or no? Because I first picked it.
I don't think he's bad. It's just like, I don't see him as like very compelling or like defined. So he's not like a hero that I would just like first pick. Like, the things that I would consider with him are kind of like, do we have lockdown that lets my ult do well, which your LC does, and then do they have heroes that dive early? Like this guy's really good against Spirit Breaker, because Spirit Breaker will dive a tower mid or something, but he usually has his teammate with him, and then you can like chain stun them under your tower. So this is a very good like reactionary stun, because people usually when they dive, they're only with other heroes and they're not with creeps, and they're under your tower. So that's when this is really good. And then your heal is very good for like baiting people into having some, like somebody's at 10% health for like 10 seconds because you're healing them. So this guy's really good for reactionary things like that. So he's good against Spirit Breaker. And then he's like also good with like mass lockdown, like I already pointed out the LC, but like Void's another good one. He's a decent lane harasser too. I personally wouldn't first pick him as a support, but he's not bad to first pick. I think I'd be more likely to first pick like a Rubik or a Dazzle or something if I had to support. But with Dazzle, usually my games they're more cooperative and they pick a hero that's actually synergistic with it. Who else would be Shadow Shaman's a good first pick. Lion's not too bad. Now that his Hex isn't disabled or purgeable. Who else is good? I've seen a lot of AA and a lot of Bane. I don't know about CM anymore though. But that, yeah,
I don't like her.
Those are the main ones. I think she's better in a caster lineup as opposed to, she used to be really like bad in caster lineups because like Storm Spirit and Leshrac and things like that, she used to be really bad at those because like what the fuck is 3 mana regen to a Storm Spirit that has like 40 already?
Yeah.
But now, because her mana scales, she's a lot better with the caster lineups. And like she used to be really good with like Juggernaut and Troll and heroes that have low regen innately. So the 3 was huge back then. But now she only gives, like, this guy has like no intelligence, so you give him the 1.4 mana regen, and it only ends up being like 1.8 or something, as opposed to 3 So I think she, especially with her level 15 talent, where she gives everyone a Kaya, I think she's a lot better with caster lineups now, which is kind of rare.
Okay. I mean, my whole thing here is I thought I'd just stick around and keep Jug from farming if possible. I don't know if I should have been moving or not. And I gave up and just went mid to farm.
It's always fine to go mid if there's nothing compelling that you have to do and your mid laner's not mid. So this is like fine, and it's kind of like only fine because your Zeus died. I actually also don't mind Soul Ring on this guy. Because, like, a lot of times you want to heal your teammates like this, but you're at full health, and then you just go out of mana. So, like, right now, wouldn't it be really nice to have a Soul Ring?
Yes. That's just the theme of this session. Wouldn't it be nice if you had Soul Ring? Wouldn't it be nice if you had Glimmer?
Yeah. Like, mana boots are still really good on him. Like, Zeus can use the early mana, LC can use the early mana, Viper definitely likes the early mana. Dazzle couldn't really care less because he has a ton of intelligence. I think Urn also would be really good, just because nobody else on your team is getting it, and it would stop the blink from the SF and the Enigma. Plus, the stats on it are just, like, really good. And it's a way for you to not have to spend a fuck ton of mana just to heal somebody up when you can earn them instead. So it lets you use your W more for AoE healing and your Urn more for single target healing. And you have decent intelligence gain, so the flat mana regen's really good on you. This is stupid. What the fuck? What? Why'd you TP top? Oh, I guess you see a few people.
I saw the pushing.
My thought on this is, like, if they leave, you don't do anything. There's no tower to push, and, like, these two can defend it on their own, and then you can, like, reactionarily support, or TP. It'd take 5 seconds, but I think it's worth it. Because now you're just kind of, like, stuck up here. And so is your Zeus and your LC. Whereas, like, you could be mid right now. So I probably would have, like, waited a little bit longer. Unless your LC has Blink.
And now they're just gonna dive middle because we don't have TP.
Well, her having her Blink's kind of, like, it makes it fine-ish because you want to be there for her duel. So it's kind of, like, it's hard for me to say it's wrong, but it is wrong. Which is super helpful coaching, I know. Wouldn't it be nice if you had a Soul Ring? Raffle them out. Like, you could be tanking this fucking tower with a Soul Ring. Bueno.
Look at it go.
Muy bueno. Mucho grande bueno.
actually kind of like this hero.
Yeah, he's fun.
Because you can, like, if they, like, you know, mob rush you, I guess, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's the
you can
thing with
punish
the
it.
Spirit Breaker that I was talking about. If
And
they,
also, when your teammates do stupid shit, like, you can save them.
yeah.
I like that.
You should play Chen, just fucking send them home. Put them in timeout whenever they're bad.
Implying I'm good enough to play that hero.
All you have to do is max your fucking send home. Don't even dominate creeps. Just play the send home Chen.
You just walk around sending people home whenever it's off cooldown.
I am a mobile TP scroll.
I guess that's farming mid, send him home.
Yeah.
Like, I saved you, you're welcome.
Yeah, they were gonna kill you in like 4 minutes, you're welcome.
If you were born again, you'd be filled.
Yep. I don't like the Atos at all. Your job is not to lock anyone down here.
Yeah, that was a panic buy.
What?
Kinda like I realized I had a shit ton of gold and didn't know what to get.
Raffle. Use your fucking quick buy, dude. It'll keep you from getting in these situations because you're thinking about your items proactively as opposed to reactively. I think Greaves or Lotus would be really good. Possibly. I think Urn would be really good. Medallion might be really good because you guys kind of need something like that to take Roche. I think Drums might be good because it just gives you, like, it's, how do I put it? I don't know. I'm gonna talk about other items first. So the thing that I think about with Atos is usually I only get it against like AMs and Storm Spirits and Quaps, because that's where you get the most value out of it, and I think that's kind of like, you need it to be more than just a 2-second route for it to be worth getting. And what I mean by that is like a Skywrath, it's not just a 2-second route, it's you getting your full ult off. Like your Nether Ward is, or your Death Ward isn't enough. Like you get a few more hits off with Death Ward by having Atos, so it's not like the greatest, and you already have a setup for it. And then like against Storm or AM, it's not just a route, it's like you're actually locking them down for 2 seconds. They're basically as good as stunned with Atos. And then it's like got nice stats too, which is pretty, it's not too big of a deal. I mean, I think you just get Glimmer Cape this game, because it's good against some of their shit. Like, it's good against Jug ult, it's good against SF ult, it's good against, like, Crystal Maiden ult. If somebody gets Black Hold and you can't stun, it's good against that. But in the worst case, you can just fucking Glimmer yourself and ult. Imagine if you had Glimmer, lol.
Gotta give him the question mark.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I like Glimmer a lot more this game than Force Staff. Like, there's no, like, super compelling reason to get Force Staff. Like, there's a lot of, like, decent reasons, but there's nothing like a Clockwork or an Ursa or a Nyx. Does that make sense? Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, it's decent, this game, but it's like, it's decent in the way that Aether Lens is decent on a lot of heroes. It's just kind of like nice to have, but you don't have to have it. Like, if there was a Clockwork in this game instead of like an Enigma or a Silencer, you would have to have Force Staff. But you don't. There aren't really any of those. Like, you're not really worried about a jug spinning on somebody at 26 minutes in the game. I guess you could, like, if this guy tries to ult on somebody, you could, like, he doesn't even have the fucking Yules, which is, like, meme-y as shit. And you can't force out of this. Like, it's decent to force out of her ult, but, like, you can also just Glimmer Cape out of it. And, like, how you're gonna die in a lot of these fights is not getting right-click down. It's more of, like, collateral damage from shit. At least if you position correctly. Like, this is horrible positioning on your part. Like, I know you want to heal this guy, but it's like, you should be a lot more worried about the Enigma ult. Like, he could blink, like, over here. I don't know if you actually have vision of him or not. But, like, right now, he could just black hole right here, and you guys would lose the game. Like, look at all this time that you're just, like, giving him good black holes. And when you're sitting here, it's like, why not look, like, over here instead? Like, you're not gaining any new information by keeping your screen locked on yourself. Like, you don't even know that Enigma's getting Viper Striked or Corrosive, so his blink is broken. You're just kind of like, I'm doing good, I'm healing him, he's taking the tower.
I'm surprised how much damage that still does at this stage of the game.
Yeah, isn't it like, it shoots out like 4.5 a second. So that's like,
so it's like 400 a second.
450. It's more like 470 actually, and then armor takes it down. And then if you like maledict on top of it, it's pretty good. But we're almost at the hour and 15-minute mark, and I think we should probably cut it there. But we have a few more minutes. So if you have any questions you want to wrap up with, or I can just talk about some shit.
So do you have any general tips besides quick buy, and what if you have a soul ring, and what if you have glimmer? Like, what about, you know, decision making as to where I was going? Because I remember last time you said I was focusing on the wrong lanes, and
so
just any general thoughts?
Well, this game is kind of like, I couldn't say too much because I'm not really used to having a Dazzle and a Witch Doctor together, really. Because both of you kind of like sit behind your team. So it's like, I'm more used to like, alright, we're gonna have one guy babysit and then another guy go around and do shit, but you have two that kind of like just sit back. So I'm not too used to that. I can look at it real quick. I think it's good that you zoned him out. And then I would be thinking I kind of want to get my Viper a decent start. Like, Viper's probably 70-30 against Silencer, but if you start out there and help him out for, like, a little bit, like, this is good, too. I like this. But if you give the Viper like any health at all, it goes from like a 70-30 to like a 90-10. And then Jug
What would you do to go top? Would you go through the trees right there, or?
Well, this would be part of like. I probably wouldn't have done the SF thing, but that's just kind of like, me more focused on the Enigma and not expecting this to pop up. Like this working out is good, but it's kind of like he should know that you're around here. So this is kind of like he doesn't have the map awareness, so this ends up working well. But like in a regular game, he'd be like, alright, there's a fucking witch doctor right here. Let's maybe not stand as fucking close to him as possible. So like in a higher game, he'd be like more over here. And that's kind of why I was like surprised by this, I guess. But I would be following this guy over here, pushing him all the way out, and then probably heading top. And then like maybe trying to trade like 300 health off of this guy, and then this lane's pretty much won. This guy doesn't have any regen, which is fucking horrible. So you actually going top here would be a huge deal.
Right.
And then I would probably go bottom. Because wouldn't you agree that you'd only have to do a little bit to this lane to make it like unwinnable for the silencer?
Yeah, he takes a few right clicks, get him down to like 1/3 health, and then he's basically fucked.
Yeah, the laning phase is over. Like, this isn't a competition when you do that to him.
And then he can't harass against corrosive skin, so he's just fucked from that point.
And then you can go bottom and not worry about your top at all for the rest of the game. And then you'll come out with this guy, like, let's see, like, right now the silencer would be, like, probably level, like, 5.5, and this guy would be, like, level 10 with, like, an extra, like, 400 gold. This guy would be missing, like, maybe 300, if not more. Oh, well, he only got 13 last hit, so he'd probably be missing, like, 200 gold. But all of that, like, would you agree with that? If you went top first, this guy would be, like, zoned out completely, and it would be like...
Oh, yeah, he would have been taken out of the game, like, for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. So this guy would be, like, 5.5, missing, like, 200 gold. This guy would be, like, level 10, have an extra, like, 300 or 400 gold. And all that would be from you, you spending, like, 30 seconds up here. And then you could go bottom and then fuck with these guys more. And you might, like... you might even get a kill on the silencer, and then when you go bottom, you're strong enough that you can win this lane, because usually if you don't start bottom, these lanes are going to be equal-ish. Like a CM Jug versus an LC Dazzle, I think you guys naturally win, because the way that they go is like she roots and then he spins on top, but she can heal off the root and then nuke and then run away from the spin while the Dazzle's like right-clicking the Juggernaut. And so I think you guys naturally... I think this is like a 60-40, maybe 65-35. But if you introduce a Witch Doctor to it, that's the same level as all of these guys. If you were top right now, got like level 2 off of the silencer, and then TP'd bottom now, it would be like level 2, level 2, level 2. She's probably, or she's 1.25. But you would be introducing a massive experience and an extra hero, as opposed to if you start down here, you're all going to be like sharing the same experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So you sapping a little bit of experience, you would have won this lane, and he would have made it up through denies, and this guy would just be completely fucked. And then you introducing a new massive experience on a fresh hero down here would win this lane probably like 75-25. And then this matchup is just kind of like the Zeus gets his farm and the SF gets his farm, and that's just like what the lane is, because this guy can't really contest the last hits of a Shadow Fiend, because he just starts getting a ton of damage. This guy has no range and no damage, and his attack animation sucks. So this is kind of like it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Unless you get like 2 kills on the Shadow Fiend here, you're not really gonna change the dynamic of this lane too much. So I think that's what my thought process would be this game. Does that help?
Yep.
Okay. So do you have any final questions?
No, that's it. I want to ask something. If you could stop recording, there's something I want to ask.
Alright, is this gonna be some gay shit, dude?
No.
Wait, one sec.